Here's the thing. The year begins anew, even in the scariest of times. Everywhere we make, and work to fix what brokenness we find. It's my pleasure to invite up Weidman to lead us in an English reading on page 10. We're going to do that.
All the stars are hidden, and the moon is dark tonight. In the wide expanse of heaven, north to south, not a ray of light. Light a night candle in my heart's shadow tent, and through the wide expanse of heaven, the light will shine. Where there is sadness, let us offer love. Where there is fear, let us reach for hope. On this eve of the new year, may we bring light to one another.
Thank you, Connie. It's my pleasure to invite up Alan Deutschman, Christina Barr, Sophia Barr-Deutschman, and Coco Luciano to light our Yom candles this evening. You can follow along with them on page 11. us on page 12 in reading.
To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. This is the season of the soul, a time to rejoice, a time to reflect, a time to return, a time to gather around the table with loved ones and friends, a time for song and silence, for prayer and confession to open the heart, a time to retreat in our sanctuaries within, a time to renew the life and spirit of our community. This is the season of attentiveness, a time to notice what has unfolded and what has not, a time to regret, a time to forgive, a time to remember cherished dreams and high ideals erased by reality. This is the season of hope, like mist running at sunset, like dew descending at dawn. Our hopes beautify and nourish everything they touch. Our hopes make us partners in creation, pursuers of peace, people who aspire to a world of justice. This is the season of love. When our eyes behold it, may we feel blessed. When we turn towards each other, let us feel strength. When we seek the holy, may we find purpose. May we find courage. May we find love.
It's my pleasure to invite up Tova McGilvray to be our Baltiya this evening. Please turn to page 15. Tiku v'chodesh Shofar, v'ates el yom chageinu, ki kol Yisrael hu, mishpat Elokei Yaakov. At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast day, sound the shofar. For that is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. Hallelujah, b'tei shofar. Praise God with the blast of the shofar. Baruch atah Adonai shomea kol teruah Yisrael v'rachamim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people Israel. Tekiah. You're good. He thought I signed him up for a full 100 blasts, so I'm going to record it. Next time, I'm just say yes. Page 17. Hineni e'oni trimaz. Here I am, so poor in deeds, I tremble in fear, overwhelmed and apprehensive before you, to whom Israel sings praise. Although unworthy, I rise to pray and seek favor for your people Israel, for they have entrusted me with this task. Therefore, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Adonai, Adonai, merciful, gracious God, who inspires all, I pray to you for success on my path. I pray for myself and my community. Do not hold them responsible for my wrongs and offenses. May my deeds cause them no shame, and may their deeds cause me no shame. Page 19. Eloheinu 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 Yitiratzon Shenizkeh L'Birchotecha Bishnat Chameshet Alafim Ushva Me'od Shmonim V'Chamesh. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5785. Eternal One, Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. And together we say, Amen. Please rise in body or in spirit for our flow, which can be found on page 20. We read together in English. Blessed are you, Adonai, your great name fills the universe with majestic light. Your word creates twilight and dusk, as your wisdom opens the gates of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars parade across the sky, revealing your sight. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive, and all that is beyond our perception. Living eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, Erev Erev. The Shema, or Ahavat Olam, can be found on the next page, page 25. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us by commandments and commanded us regarding the reading of the Shema, to declare God's reign with a whole heart, to declare God one with a good and willing heart, and to worship God with a good and willing spirit. The Chatimah can be found on the bottom of page 24. Baruch atah Adonai, Oher Amo Yisrael. The Shema can be found on the next page. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Amen. You may be seated. The Shema continues on page 28. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha u'b'kol nafshecha u'b'kol mevotecha v'hayu hadarim ha'elah asher anochi mitzvah Hayom Alanavecha, Vishinatan Lananecha, Vidvartam, Veshitacham Vetecha, Unacham Aderet, Ushokacham Ukumecha, Ushatam Leot Hayatecha, Vehayu Letotachot V'neinecha, Uvtatam Al Mitzvot Beitecha, U'Visharecha, L'ma'an Tizkeru, Asitem V'Mitzvotai, V'item Koshim Le'Orechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeiti Etem Be'eretz Mitzrayim, L'Yot Lachem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, and we turn to page 33, and it's my pleasure to invite up Linda's for a reading.
To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart.
To break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect.
To break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy.
To break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts.
To break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength.
To untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being.
To break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope.
To break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help.
Released from the darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea. And we
Pray
pray
for liberation and belonging to the Spirit.
We turn to the middle of page 34 for our Song of Freedom, being Lamachah. Mi kamo Adonai, mi kamo Adonai Kodesh, no Ratzikivot, O Seferet, Malchutecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Gam Yisrael. We turn to page 36, and we read together. Bless our sleep with peace by night, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face. Illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety at all means. For you are the honor of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who are born to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now and till the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, HaPoresh Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. We turn to page 42. Please rise in body or in spirit for the Amidah.
My mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, Elokei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tzovim, V'tomer HaKovot, V'zoter HaSe'avot B'imachot, V'nevi Yehuda Yifnei Mekah, L'man Shlo Be'ahavat.
Page 49. And so, in your holiness, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our ear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. Together. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power, the earth for connection with all that lives, doing your will with fullness of heart, awe-inspiring to creation, all-encompassing through your transcendent name. Page 50. And so in your holiness, give your people gifts of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness in the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see, a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection. Together. And so, in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with joy, a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence strays like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the sudden sight of their arrogance gone from the earth. You and you alone on high will reign with your creation, on Mount Zion home your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God Zion for all generations. Hallelujah. You are holy, your name is awe. There is nothing divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice. The God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMelech HaKadosh. We turn to page 54. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו ביחדיו את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. In your love, eternal God, you have given us this day of remembrance, a day of the shofar's joyful sound, a day of sacred assembly, a day to be mindful of our peoples going out from Egypt. Together. Our God, the God of generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May we be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness. Together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the memory of the
we be remembered for safety, well-being, and caregivers, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance.
Zolverino Adonai Elohim Bo Tova.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Uvotenu Bo Livracha.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
V'hoshenu Bo L'chaim.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. We turn together to page 58. Eloheinu ve'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Kodshenu v'Mitzvotecha. God who is ours and God of our fathers and mothers, lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find the portion of Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness, teach us to be satisfied, and to know the joy of your salvation. Help us to serve you truly with purity of heart, for you are a faithful God, whose truth stands forever. Baruch atah Adonai, melech kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael, v'yom ha'zikaron. We turn to page 66. You may be seated. We turn together to page 72. It's my pleasure to invite up Nita Donovan for a reading.
Prayer for those who are ill and caregivers of care. May the Eternal One, who blesses all life, bless and strengthen all of us who struggle against illness. May we whose lives are touched by illness be blessed with faith, courage, love, and care. May we experience the support and sustenance of family, friends, companions, and community. May we be granted restful nights and days of comfort. We pray for HaShanah, precious moments of healing and a sense of wholeness in body and soul. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and sanity. May those who pursue medical skill and knowledge and bless us in kindness, patience, and compassion. And may all of us, the sick and the broken, find comfort. Amen.
It's my pleasure to invite up Doug and Sandra Goodman to open our heart doors. We all rise for the Avinu. Please turn to page 7. Avinu Malkeinu, strong is the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed and transcended love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its breath. There are many who say the works of their hands, you are our God. But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is a paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-isolation. Nowhere else can we reach for good. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts. Distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu, as loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, as sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of love. To this vision, we offer ourselves. Amen. Please join me in English on page 76. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty universal, we love for our stars. Avinu Malkeinu, l'manfa rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake show us mercy. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu l'ma'an shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as it is written. Avinu Malkeinu, shlach v'kuah shleima v'olei amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, k'ra ro'ah v'zar. Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, kotveinu v'sefer v'lav v'shua. Avinu Malkeinu, silence and book of prevention and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, zochreinu v'zikron tov l'chanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and all of us behind. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh l'ma'afa v'oshem. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us. Avinu Malkeinu, shema aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty universal, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, atanu l'manecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Israel is sins before you. Avinu Malkeinu, kamo aleinu, ve'al aleinu v'zokeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our enemies. Avinu Malkeinu, aledefer, kafara, kara'a. Avinu Malkeinu, all the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, ale kosar maskin v'yavim. Avinu Malkeinu, all the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, kotveinu v'sefer v'yavim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our hands in the Lord of lives of it. Avinu Malkeinu, kadesh aleinu shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us in your goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, koneinu v'aleinu, ein v'aleinu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, sakar, v'chesed, v'oshem. Avinu Malkeinu,
you, Almighty and merciful. Answer us with grace, for our needs are wanting. Save us from acts of justice and love.
It's my pleasure to invite up Rabbi Benjamin Silver for our sermon.
There is a tradition in my family that when you come across an article in a newspaper or a magazine or online, you think someone you know would enjoy it. You flip it out, you scribble their name across the top, and you share it with them. I still have clippings that my father and grandfather gave to me, and I will get around to reading them. The other day, I gave Toby an article about skills that every adult should master. There were sensible things like being able to give a solid piece of advice, how to change a tire, how to buy a suit. Others were less relevant, perhaps, knowing how to hit a jump shot in pool, know at least one musical group as well as possible, know how to cook bacon. I would add another thing that I think everyone should know. Heartbreak. Everyone needs to have their heart broken. Heartbreak, as wrenching, as difficult as it is something important. Psychologists explain how heartbreak teaches us resilience, how it helps us learn from our mistakes, and how it can build compassion and empathy. There's more to it, though. It is something uniquely human to have a broken heart. It is awful, terrible, and somehow also a bit wonderful. The heart is, as I have just so dearly learned, a muscle. And we may talk about it breaking, but it does not truly do that. But if we give our hearts time to heal, they will grow stronger. That we can overcome heartbreak means that we can grow stronger and better. Heartbreak unlocks something in us that otherwise we could not access. There is a legend that every year the Baal Shem Tov would have a competition to see who would have the honor of blowing the shofar on Rosh HaShanah. It was not just enough to play the notes with perfect clarity and tone, but the shofar blower also had to learn a special set of kavanot, secret, mystical prayers that the person would say just before blowing the shofar, ensuring that the notes would reach the highest realms. One of the Baal Shem Tov's followers, well, he studied for years, practicing and playing, and finally felt he was ready and stood before the Baal Shem Tov, and he rose. There, in front of the great rabbi, thinking about how big his task was, how daunting it was before him, he felt completely inadequate and unprepared. He searched his mind for the words of the prayers, and it was blank. He searched his heart for his courage, and it too was empty. He could barely even remember why he was standing there. And so he stood there, silently, and then he began to realize how he had failed. He began to weep. He wept his whole body, wailing and shaking. "You're hired," said the Baal Shem Tov. "I don't understand," the man said. "I didn't remember anything. I didn't even play a single note." So the Baal Shem Tov told him a story about how in the king's palace there are many chambers, each with its own key. But there is one key that can unlock all of the doors: the axe. The axe, you see, is the shofar blower's broken heart. His broken heart could open up every door leading into the heavens. The Baal Shem Tov explained this to him, reminded him, "Haro Adonai Lanish Berele," God is close to the broken heart. God is close to us when we ache. There is deep connection between our hearts and God. Many of our prayers speak of both, but none so directly as V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'kol levavecha, v'kol nafshecha, v'kol meodecha, v'hiyu ha'varim ha'ela, asher anochi mitzavach hayom al levavecha. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words that I command you on this day, you shall place on your heart. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotzk points out that there is something wrong here. Al levavcha, on your heart. The text should have written in your heart, for it needs to be in the innermost parts of the heart. How the words of Torah ever reach us if they remain only on the surface of our hearts? The Kotzker answers, the intention of the verse is that at the very least, the words should be upon your heart. Because for the majority, the heart is closed. Yet no person has a heart that will never open. And then the words can fall truly into the heart. All the more so the brokenness. On Rosh HaShanah, we read a story of heartbreak. Yakedah, binding of Isaac. Is there a character in that story who does not suffer heartbreak? God comes to Abraham and demands that Abraham sacrifice his beloved son. How awful for both Abraham and Isaac to be absent. Such a horrible thing from this God they love. Doubly horrible for Isaac, who is betrayed by his own father. And although she is not mentioned in the story, Sarah's heart breaks as well. The very next parsha mentions that she has died. Our tradition teaches that she died of a broken heart. Perhaps God's heart breaks in this story too. Is God saddened that Abraham, who argued for the lives of total strangers, who raised no objection over the life of his own son? Did God weep with Isaac, thinking that this disappointment would tear apart not just the covenant, but the family that God had chosen to uphold us? And as we read this story, our hearts break. They break for all of the suffering encountered in the story. They break at the idea that our God would demand such cruel obedience. They break over our heroes being less than that, being just human. How are our hearts broken right now? In countless ways, this community has seen heartbreak this year. We have had deaths in our community, our families. We have seen people suffer job losses, housing insecurity. We have been confronted with anti-Semitism, bigotry. I know my heart is broken this year. While I was writing this sermon, I saw the news about Iran attacking Israel. It was impossible for me not to feel heartache for every person in that part of the world under siege, most of whom have little or no say in the actions inflicted in nature. My heart is broken that on the eve of our new year, peace is farther away than it was last year. My heart is broken that Gaza is still controlled by murderous terrorists, and that its people still do not have a place that can call their own. My heart is broken that there are no adults in the room of the capitals of the world strong enough to say stop. My heart is broken. My heart is broken over the loss of my father. My heart is broken that Ramona broke her arm and will not be able to play softball this fall. I'm heartbroken by 1,000 things, big and small. I suspect yours are the same. So what do we, the broken-hearted, do? Rabbi Sharon Brous calls our attention to a passage in the Mishnah that describes the pilgrimage to the Temple of Jerusalem. All of the pilgrims would walk through the courtyard, thousands of them filing through, all traveling through and around in one direction, except that anyone who had suffered a heartbreak would go the other way, against the sea of bodies. And as they did, each person would ask them how they are. Rabbi Rosh explains that was the entire ritual at the temple. And while those on pilgrimage probably did not want to take the time to talk to people walking the other way, it was all there was to do. So she says, and so you do. You stop. And you ask, you invite that person into conversation, and then they respond, and then you bless, and then you keep going. And for the person who's going to the left, the last thing we want to do when we're broken is show up in a room full of people, let alone hundreds of thousands of people. But you go. You can't pretend you're okay. You can't just get lost in the crowd because you're not okay. We are not okay. We are all heartbroken and in need of comfort. all in our own way. Knowing that, perhaps we will approach one another with more compassion and empathy. Maybe understanding that each of us aches will help us handle each other with more care and kindness. And maybe knowing that we are all heartbroken will help us work together in the important mitzvah of healing our broken hearts. Rabbi Shoshana Meir Friedman tells the story of her son who suffered utter heartbreak when his nightly banana broke. He began to sob and plead for another banana, but she did not have one to give him. And then she realized she knew just what he felt. I hate this, she wrote. And like my son, in the heat of fury, I do not buy it one bit. I secretly believe another world is hiding in the kitchen, and that God is holding out on me. If I wail loud enough, perhaps to be the perfect activist, I'm sure God will get up and find that world. The one where democracy is flourishing, children are safe in school, and Exxon never sowed murderous doubt on climate science. A different world has to be there, buried under the half-finished boxes of crackers, looking out from under the potatoes. As I rocked my crying child, I thought about how Western culture wants us to repress, sugarcoat, or rush grief, and how Jewish tradition teaches differently. Our liturgy gives voice to a heartbroken longing for justice and redemption. Our holiday cycle gives us the Tisha B'Av, the day of memorial mourning for the brokenness of the world. Our death and mourning rituals are about time and space for loved ones to fully feel their sorrow. Even in the midst of the greatest Jewish joy, a wedding, we break a glass to honor sadness. Our ancestors knew we needed to express our broken hearts if we were to have any chance of finding joy. They knew grieving is a form of prayer and even service. Yet as modern adults, it is so hard to honor our emotional pain with healthy expression. What astounds me about my son's heartbreak is that he always finds his way through if we do not interrupt him. All I do is teach him he is not alone. We are not alone. We have one another, broken-hearted and all. Shoutout.
It's my pleasure to invite up Erica O'Neill for a reading on page 81. It's my pleasure to invite up Tommy Seidel to help me lead outdoors. Please turn to page 82. We all rise. The time may be distant and the outcome uncertain. For help is suffering, and managed to human condition ever comes to an end. Cessation of desire, relinquishing attachment, diminished expectations, all these might ease the pain of being alive. Or decide instead that you'll continue to dream. Hope, remain fiercely attached to bringing a better day, even if the outcome is uncertain and the time is very distant. Page 84 in the middle. You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, and those who died in this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. We are remembering the recent deaths of Yolanda Jimenez and Joseph Ohayam. We are still in Shloshim for Patricia Dupier. And we're in the first year of mourning for Daniel B. Stage, Sue Berghammer, Eric Rosenberg, Jeffrey Ford, Kevin Knox, Joanne Reiner, Jim Alexander, Rebecca Weidman Hoover, Kurt Engelhardt, Debbie Herman, Jerry Zoger, Laura Lazarus, Ron Darst, Robert Stearns, Sally Ann Castle-Rainey, and Irene Fenton. This week, we are also commemorating the art sites of Kathy Horton Firetop, Saul Friedman, Elizabeth Mathis, Joseph Boyarsky, Sidney Levy, Leona Burns, Arthur Goldberg, Carl Javinsky, Albert C. Merkin, Albert Newberger, Janice C. Pendergraft, Julian A. Rutkowitz, Ben D. Shanker, Esther A. Goldwater, Samuel Greenblatt, Harry Kahn, Arlene Levinson, Meyer Zagolski, Esther Kaufman, Rabbi Abraham Feinberg, and Lillian Redkovich. If there are other names that you'd like to add to this list, please do so as my hands do so. May their memories be a blessing in this new year and always. Please turn to page 90, and if it is your custom, rise to the Lord's house. Yitzhak, Yitzhak, Ve'alma, Yitzhak, Yitzhak, Yamtik, Malkutik, V'ayim, V'yom, V'ayim, V'yim, God love, Yisman, Kareem, Yikru, Amen. Yehi, Shmei, Rabba, Ne'ra, Ne'olam, L'amei, Amaya. Yitzharach, Yishalach, Yitzhar, Yitzhamah, Yitzhaseh. Yitzhadar, Yitzhaleh, Yitzhalach, Shmei, Yisha, Yikru. L'neila, L'neila, L'nol, Mirkata, Shirata. Tushkata, L'nehata. Amen. Yehi Shlava Rabba Mishmaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'Yalko Yisrael. V'Yimru Amen. V'Oseh Shalom V'Yimah. V'Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Yalko Yisrael. V'Yalko Yisrael. V'Yimru Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace upon all who mourn. And may we be a source of comfort to all who are grieved. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. It is my pleasure to invite up our temple president, Tova McGilvray, for a few words. Recently, at the Jewish Nevada Milk and Honey Festival, we Temple Sinai were giving demonstrations on how to hang mezuzot on door frames, mezuzah palooza, we affectionately call our booth. During this event, one temple girlfriend shared with me that she had mezuzot inside her home, but has chosen not to hang one on her front door out of security concerns. On the other end of the spectrum, I have friends who have purchased and now wear more Jewish jewelry than ever before to make their Jewishness visible, wanting people to know immediately who they are and their pride in being a Jew. The fact that we consider when and how to present our Jewish identities illustrates that the sense of security Jews have felt in American society has been upended since the Hamas terrorist attack of October 7th. The surge in anti-Semitism has become a very real, very personal mental health issue. The stream of stories of anti-Jewish hate has touched off the kind of unsettling thoughts that can disrupt sleep and can affect social and professional relationships. Some of the strategies that I've used during this time are to focus on the things that I can do something about, not on the circumstances that are beyond my control. I no longer get my news from ratings-fueled television, full stop. And lastly, and most important to my addressing you today, I make a conscious effort to interact with my Jewish community. At the Jewish Heritage Night at the Reno Aces this past May, I coincidentally ran into a friend who's Jewish and not a synagogue goer, and also not particularly connected to the Jewish community. All we did was sit together, catch up, watch some baseball, But at the end of the game, he expressed what a relief it had been to just hang out with people who get his Jewish side. This was during the height of the anti-Semitic campus protests that were happening. And we both appreciated a safe place to be complicated and quirky Jewish humans together without having to be on guard and without having to have Peace Prize-worthy responses to burn events. Being together with other Jews is a protective action I take for myself, and I hope that being at Temple Sinai offers you a chance to make similar connections. Our weekly Shabbat services bring a grounding routine to close out stressful weeks and are a welcome reminder to take a break from the news from time to time. Our weekly Torah study group is a truly bonded group of friends and scholars. Our Sinai school helps students and their families build Jewish identities and make friends with each other so that the experience of growing up Jewish can be defined by togetherness, not otherness. This year, we've also given more programming apart from services. We have a brand new entertaining lecture series called Who Knew, where we're interviewing longtime Temple Sinai members, exploring Jews of the Old West through classic television, and taking a deep dive into Jewish love songs. We have a monthly crafter schmooze where we can crochet and fetch. And our library has started a monthly book club and is planning other delightful, fun, and random events so that nerds can be nerdy together. In the spring, get this one, we're going to have a Temple Sinai prom. If you want to reclaim a mental health space, come redo prom with me, okay? This Saturday, October 5th, we're holding a musical and meditative healing Haggadah as we honor the anniversary of the terrorist attack of October 7th. In this sacred space of reflection and prayer, we will gather to remember the innocent lives lost, pray for those still missing, and light candles in their memory. These are challenging and scary times we're living through, but community bonds can provide support and refuge. Together, we can nurture resilience and transform pain into strength. I hope that you'll join us, because I really need you. Shema Tova. It's my pleasure to now invite up our treasurer and technical lead for inquiries.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alexa Bolden, your temple treasurer. We met last year. And my teammate and I, the lovely Marilyn Roberts, who is your temple CFO, we look at a lot of numbers. We're always looking at the numbers, cost of covering, the basics, the needs, the wants, how we're going to make the numbers in the budget work. In most years, we're actually good. We've been in the bed since 2020. We get by, we get creative, sometimes we get lucky with unexpected donation. Sometimes somebody makes a donation to a project that is so far down the line of priorities that we can do it anyway. So for example, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be starting a refresh in our lobby and in our congregational hall because somebody made an anonymous donation just for that. And why doesn't the budget work every time, most of the time? There's a lot of logistics, variables, basic math. And we do go over all that at the annual congregation meeting and semi-annual meeting. So we go into details, we answer questions, but we have a question to be brought out. We talk to either Marilyn or myself. We'll go through that. In the meantime, let's remember that giving moves us forward. I know you think of our shoulder, you have to think, but I am sure we're in your heart. And and I'm sure we're going to that. You see all our actions and all we aspire to be. You see the board working so hard for all members wholeheartedly. Plus, you see our limitations and what we can't achieve unless we work towards the same goals better together. Right? The times are tough, groceries are high, it's harder now than ever to just get by. And Temple is an extra. How do you do more? By doing what you can, when you can, is what I'm for. True, there are things that only money can buy, while there are other things that showing up can supply. Mr. Harry Weinberg, one day, shared his time and time with me, and decades later, it's still there, embracing where he once stood. When I took an adult ed class years ago, the volunteer helper was the lovely Jill Rage. And okay, nothing rhymes with that, it's such a very living word, but she deserves lots of props for what she's done with the library programs, just because she became a volunteer. All giving matters, especially in this piece. Whether it was you who bought the chair, or you joined us and accepted it. So yes, there is so much that money cannot buy, and there are too many items that only money can supply. Our dues are only a part of a budget that falls very short. If we ever make our bottom line, we need more support. Donations, financial gifts, no matter how large or small, keeps us going, keeps us doing, instead of hitting that brick wall. So, if you can, I beg you, please do. What and how you can, this is exciting. This is a place to be together, where safety thrives, and spirits are nourished. It's only with our time, talents, and treasure that our base little temple can truly flourish. Please contact any board member or the office for information on ways that you can contribute and about committees that we really love to have in China. Any financial gifts can be mailed to the temple, or go to the donation envelopes. You can direct it from the general fund or to a very specific money you choose. May your high holidays full inspiration and your new year
We are always, some special thank yous. Thank you to the Jewish Practice Committee who supplied our gorgeous flowers, and Mike Stomba who ordered and arranged for them. Thank you so much to Marilyn Roberts, John Luis Gomez, Steve Weidman, Laura Smith, and Tova McGilvray for being our greeters. Laura Smith and the entire Jewish Practice Committee have been working tirelessly since February to get these high holidays off the ground. We do it every year, and it's remarkable that it always gets done. Thank you to everyone that you are going to see, everyone that you saw read today, and the ones that you'll see read, chant, carry Torahs, do all of the many things that it takes for our services. Thank you to Michael Gorden and Tommy Seidel, our setup mavens, our sound techs. We are always looking for volunteers. If Torah chanting is something that you've ever been interested in, we'd love to help nurture you. And maybe this time next year, you can be up here helping us out as well. We're also always looking for live stream texts. Please contact Michael Gorden if you're more of a family member person. We would like you to know that as soon as possible, please get your memorial cards in. Mike will be working on the Yitzhak booklet for Yom Kippur next week. He does prefer that you do it online. So don't feel like you have to sit here and fill out the memorial card. It's actually better to do it online because then he doesn't have to try to interpret your handwriting and then just put it online. So please, tinyarena.org. All of the memorial stuff is available on our website. Please also sign up for our Break the Fast. Our Break the Fast this year is going to be a potluck. If you don't sign up, we don't eat. So we would love for you to go again to sanireno.org, pick something that you are excited about and that you know that you can handle, and bring it to Break the Fast so that we can all break the fast together at the end of the week. We also have our annual high holiday food drive. Please, on your way out the door, please pick up one of our brown paper bags that are right by the door and fill it. The food bank is always looking for high protein items and specialty items such as gluten-free or sugar-free or low carb or those sorts of things because they have a lot of folks who do have food restrictions. We have tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. our morning service. At 4:30 p.m. is our top Rosh HaShanah. That is for all of our little ones who can only sit around for about half an hour. That will be at our Tashlich location, so we can go straight from top Rosh Hashanah into Tashlich, which will be at 5 o'clock. There are maps online for where we are going to be meeting. It's over at Woodfield Park. Friday, October 4th, we have a 3-day Chag this year. So Friday, October 4th, we have the 10 a.m. Rosh Hashanah Day 2 service. And then that evening at 7:30 p.m., we have our Shabbat Shuvah evening service as well. Saturday, October 5th, sorry, Torah study folks, we are not doing Torah study. Okay. It really is a lovely, close-knit group, and so we are going to miss one another, but we are not doing Torah study on Saturday. At 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, as Tova mentioned, we have our Memorial Havdalah to commemorate the deaths of those who were killed in the October 7th massacre. Please join us. That will only be available in person. We want to create a really intimate atmosphere so that we can all be together at that time. Last thing for this weekend, Sunday at 2 p.m. is our Cover a Book Memorial Service. Please join us at the Jewish Cemetery out on Angel Street for our memorial service. It's a very short service, and it is a joint full community service. So it's really nice to get to say shoutout to the folks over at Emmanuel, and the other folks that we may not always get to see. Y'all know when we have Glorious, so I'm going to just leave it there. We got plenty to do between now and Yom Kippur. Please turn to page 94 for our closing song. Adon Olam Hashem Haba, B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'ein Nasa B'Chat Sobo, Azai Melech Shemo Nivra, Azai Melech Shemo Nivra, Ve'acharei Yimlot HaKol, Levanon Yimlot Nora, Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoder, Ve'hu Yiyeh V'Tifara, Ve'hu Yiyeh V'Tifara, Ve'hu Lecha Ve'ein Sheni, Le'am Shilo, Le'achira, Ve'li Reshit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz, Ve'ha'mizrach, Ve'lo Ha'oz, Ve'ha'mizrach, Ve'hu Eli, Ve'chai Kohanim, Ve'tzur Ve'ri, V'yetzara, Ve'hu Nisi, U'manosi, Ve'nat Kosi, Ve'yom Nekra, Ve'nat Kosi, Ve'yom Nekra, Ve'yado Afiruchi, Ve'etisham, Ve'ayira, Ve'imruchi, Ve'liati, Adonai mi v'lo ira, Adonai mi v'lo ira. Yehi ratzon v'nach Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'mitzvah, Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. HaShanah, Tova, V'Techatenu. May you all be inscribed and sealed for a good year. I'm going to chant Yiddish from here, and then what you can do is you can head back, grab your cup, and your apples and if you'd like to follow along, page 79. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei b'riat ha'afen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'korban mikol v'romen mikol v'shonu mitzvotav. V'atitem lo Adonai Eloheinu b'yom and Yom Hazikaron Hazeh, Yom Teruah, V'Kodesh, V'Kadetziat Mitzrayim. V'Anu V'Varta, V'Tanu V'Yashta, V'Kol Ha'amim, V'Ratayam Et V'Chayam Ba'ad, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ne'achol Ha'aretz, Yisrael, Yom HaZikaron. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shalech v'hiyanu la'asam Hashem. L'chaim. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ha'osi lechem mincha